Why are they cheering for the so-called hero after watching him murder someone in cold blood? And more importantly, why does such nonsense make so much sense? This is a delusional population. Kind of like the United States of. When I watched that scene, I said to myself, how can people be this daft? This doesn't make any sense. But then I thought about it some more. And then I realized it makes all of the sense. The thing with season 1 and 2 is that the heroes are just there doing media things. In fact, they were friends with a Nazi until she came out. We finally saw heroes fight villains. But really, what were they doing all day behind the scenes? Has the populace seen them do any hero work that isn't some movie or ad? Where did the idea of hero come from for them? Let's come to our reality for a bit. The Boys is sold as what society would actually be like if superpower people existed. But I would argue that only accounts for our degenerate society. Back in the good old days, you can believe me, I was there. I have no doubt that if humans got superpowers, they would be like Spider-Man and Superman. See, back then, self-sacrifice for a country were ideas that were valued. But in our time, the idea we value is individual preservation. The country ain't got our interest at heart, so fuck the country. Marvel and DC are how heroes would act in their time, and The Boys is how heroes would be in our time. And all we do in our time is idealize those times back then. Things were better back then, not understanding why they were better. Has anyone in the Boys universe actually seen heroes fight super villains? Heroes' lives revolve around media and ad revenue in the Boys. Marvel and DC heroes revolved around fighting crime, to do better things. The age of Marvel and DC for us was basically hope for war situations against other countries and governments. And the age of the Boys is hope for our enslavement to our own governments. Back to the Boys now. Is it so bizarre that these people cheered for him, even when he confessed to being a degenerate? Nah, it makes sense that he was held for it as a whistleblower. These people got nothing to go on except the media and what it tells them. But sure, can't they apply critical thinking? Has anyone applied critical thinking to that incident in Florida, where a whole lot of cops were having a shootout with 4 teenagers at a mall? Nah, we just argued on Twitter about whether giants exist and how it's stupid to believe giants exist. Listen here, my numb-witted media zombie child. Something happened, and it was not 4 teenagers, and your leaders haven't told you what it really was. And if it is really 4 teenagers, you should be protesting for refunds on your tax. See, the thing is, we also only have media to go on. Critical thinking with limited information is a challenge. I honestly think we are more delusional than the population in The Boys, because not only are their media teams coming up with better lies to deceive the populace, but they actually would rather believe that the heroes are on their side, because at some level they know they will die if they protest. Remember when Homelander was like, sure, I'll lose everything, but then I'll have nothing to lose. Think of that. And then imagine what would happen to that crowd if they threw a tomato on him after he killed that guy. All those imaginations, those daydreams of just wiping them out with these eye lasers in those crowds, that would be real. And that's why no one had the confidence to break that silence, except that radical fella who still supported it. These fellas always exist. I mean, see, in our world, the capital of capitalism is putting people in power, hoping to take down capitalism and take up communism. They don't get more radical than that. Like I say, these people always exist. Sometimes they just get the crowd on their side. So what goes into making a delusional society? Number one, the delusion must be better than the reality. There's a reason why majority of the people would rather stay in the delusion. Actually, there's a reason why they're in the delusion in the first place. And even when challenged, they would want to stay in the delusion because it's better than the reality. Number two, the reality should seem delusional within the universe. Just think of The Boys, not the title, like as in the team The Boys. They are basically conspiracy theorists, and they are right. We know they are right as the audience, but these people look at them and they're like, hey bruh, Homelander has been saving us for years. Don't you watch TV? Yeah, it seems delusional to think that Homelander is evil. That's another reason how the delusion would stay, because the reality seems more delusional. And number three, the delusion must be some sort of idealization of the past or the future. there's a whole history of heroes from Soldier Boy to I don't know who else, but heroes were always good. So it's an idealization of those ideas, like how we idealize the days of Spider-Man and Iron Man. Or in some other societies, it's an idealization of a better future, as in let's believe these guys and their ideas because we don't like things now. We would rather follow these guys to where they're going. AI is amazing. Let's actually put all our stocks in. It's an idealization of the future. I would argue that those three things are what go into making a delusional society that makes sense. Season 3 is where Butcher learns that superpowers aren't the problem. It's people that are the problem. And people become a problem because this society is actually sick, populated by cowards. You give a coward a superpower and you basically get someone who does the most degenerate things out of self-preservation. Everyone who applauded Homelander is basically Homelander without superpowers. See, after realizing this, it hits different when Homelander says his line, "You are the real heroes." Alright, now sort of, it's time to draw.